Right, here we go with another one. Then we're going to be doing a simple little cartoon spider on this one to celebrate the release of Elijah's Little Spiders. So let's hide that collection. We've got our epic pin. I also have my wireframe. Let's go to add mesh sphere. We can right click and shade smooth on that. We're across the x-axis there. I like to move this up very right on the floor. And you can go Control A, all transforms. That can be the simple body. We've got our screencast key. So yeah, let's create this simple little spider then. So I think we'll go into sculpt mode. Put X on, F to resize. Like what I always say, make sure you cross your x-axis there. Then you can sculpt both sides. If we just go back into object mode, plus there, you can sometimes, when you're rigging, you got your minus and your plus axis. Sometimes it's awkward to distinguish, but your Y is forward, so I'm guessing that's your plus. You move that, your plus. So back into sculpt mode. Let's just start shaping this simple body then. G for grab, F to resize. Just shape a little simple little spider body. What you could do, you can remesh there, and that'll give you more geometry. But we're going to model, we're going to rig and animate this. So I'm probably going to keep it not massively low resolution or topology, but not super heavy. Let's just get a little shape in there. So yeah, I don't know why, but I want to do this cartoon spider for some reason. So a roundish body there. We want to grab our smooth. I like to set the smooth to about 0.4. So then when you tap smooth, you're not destroying as much of the geo. So pretty much spherical kind of shape. Let's just try and get an area where we're going to get the eye in there. So if we pull these back a bit, try and get a bit of a eye area. Get the eyes in there. Obviously we'll need to add a bit more geo. I'm just getting a basic shape for the eye. So what we'll do, we'll insert a sphere, I guess, into there. Let's get a basic sort of eye shape. And I'm just mimicking one of the spiders from Elijah's Little Spiders book. Children's book I've released. Let's get just get a simple mouth shape. We'll just have him smiling, I think. If you hold shift, you can just tap smooth around there. Pull this down there, that can go in a bit. So that's like a very basic socket for the eye, and a basic mouth. I think what we'll do now, we'll go into edit mode. We'll grab into face mode. Grab these here. Extrude along normals, extrude it in. Move it down a bit. Scale it a bit. Let's just make sure you're recording alright, yep. I think what we'll also do here, we grab these. And again, right click, extrude along normals, extrude them inwards. Yep, extrude along normals, extrude in. And scale it a bit. That can be our basic socket, right? Smooth that. More level. Make sure you got both sides. We'll go back into sculpt mode. And we'll just move this back. I think what we'll do now, we need a bit more geo, don't we? So edit, edge loop, that there, insert some edge loops in here. On supporting edges. Have a few more in there. A few more around there. We're just increasing the geo a bit. Back into sculpt mode. What we have got to do is go to File, Save As. Spider. We're back into sculpt mode and it's just smooth along there so it's not as harsh. I'm just tapping smooth there. And same on the mouth. And I think what we'll do there, if we go back into edit mode, loop, we can insert a few loops in the mouth area as well. And again, just tap smooth. Maybe we could have another loop in there. It's not too bad. What we'll do now, we'll go to Add Mesh Sphere. Right click and shade smooth. 90 degrees. Scale. Move it here. Scale it. Just get into the ballpark, get it into place. Checking the different angles. So you've got a definite kind of eyeball popping out. It's not too bad. Maybe scale it a little bit more. Shift it about a bit. In out, shake it all about. Or ball shape. And then just move that there. We'll go to Add Modifier, Generate Mirror. Get your pipette, choose your body. Control S to save. Back into sculpt mode. G for grab. Let's just shape it a little bit now. So it's not. You want to be aware of anatomy, but more cartoony, but still a bit like wrapping over a little bit there. That can come in, tap smooth. Mouth can maybe push out a touch. That can come in just to create a little nib. When you're doing mouths, look at, try and get a little bit of roundness at least in there. So So just creating that subtle bit of roundness there. Tapping smooth. Tapping smooth around there. Shaping that out a little bit. And that's in the ballpark, isn't it, for now? Definitely in the ballpark. Probably need a bit more. I'll tell you what we can do. We'll go to Generate Subdivision. Put down to 2. Now we've got it nice and smooth. You can just go in and shape that a little bit more with our subdivision modifier, and you can turn that on and off, look, when you're animating. But by adding that subdivision, look, it's got rid of the harsh edges around the eye. It's just a case of tweaking that about a bit, and you can cut in some more edge loops and stuff if you want. But obviously when I duck out and do a bit of polish, I'll just tidy up any bumpy bits and stuff. They're just around the mouth there's a little bit bumpy. But we'll go with that for now. So that can be the basic body of the spider. I think maybe shape it. You get like that sort of shape, don't you, with a spider? So just shape that up a bit. I was thinking of having this as a female spider. Yeah, so maybe a female spider. I'm just trying to think. Let's go to Add Mesh Cube. I like the trusty old cube, really, for a lot of things. Let's just shape this a bit. Bring it. Bring it up towards where we could have this eyelash. And scale it a bit. Then we can just go to edit mode. We'll just cut a few edge loops in. And some supporting edges at the top there, couple. A few at the side. Let's see what it's like when we go to add, generate, subdivision. Right click and shade smooth. Just have a bit of a bend to it, I guess. And it'll get thinner at the top. Smooth. It gets thinner at the top. You can always go into edit mode as well. See through. And just scale these verts down. So we'll polish this up a bit. I'm just trying to get it in the basic ballpark of a cartoony eyelash, I guess. Come out to see through. And then smooth again. That can be the basic eyelash, which I guess sits guess it sits somewhere. Somewhere like that, but we don't really want it in here. I'll just put it there for now. And then Shift D to duplicate. Just rotate that around a bit there. Shift D to duplicate again. Rotate that the other way. I mean, it might not work with the eyelashes, but let's just go with it for now. We'll just go with it for now. Then what we can do, we'll just combine them. Control J. Add a modifier, mirror. Select that, so we got them on the other side now. We'll decide if we're going to keep that in a bit. That can be the basic lashes. So we'll texture a bit of a Black Widow thing in there. Let's just do a little bit more tweaking around this mouth area. And you can increase your subdivs more, but I usually go with 2 on the subdivs. Let's get a very simple Cupid's bow in there. If we go to draw, we could at least have it coming out just a touch there. G to grab. Bring that down there. So that's the basic shape, isn't it? We'll do a bit of polish on it. We need to think about the legs then, really, don't we now? So let's Control S to save. And I think we should have them separate, shouldn't we, the legs? So I think we'll go into Add Mesh, add our trusty cube again. Get these simple little legs in there. So let's think about these legs. So we want obviously 8 legs, don't we? So let's just have a look at this reference of it. Pretty much 3 joints, isn't it? Well, we're not going to see the one, but 1, 2, 3 joints. It's like and down there. So it's cutting some edge loops then. So we'll create a simple little idle animation, I think, on this as well. Have that. We'll have it going into like a section there. We can maybe extrude a little bit in, possibly. So, look, into there. It's cutting another edge loop there. And have a few supporting edges. There's all different ways to go about this. You could have used a cylinder as well. Cylinder probably would have been better really, but I do like the old cubes for some reason. So I think let's go into see-through mode. And could we grab those and rotate them like that? And then bring that down there. Obviously cutting. We want it to be sort of even, I guess, don't we? So bring this down here. Cutting an edge loop there. Scale it a bit. Scale that. Go on your normal. Scale that a bit more. So yeah, it's just on the fly, isn't it? So I'm just trying to do things on the fly, so they might not always be the best method. Let's have a look. Let's bring this out. This needs to come along there, and this last one, we'll rotate that, scale it a bit, and have it like taper, something like that. And obviously, yeah, carry on in see-through mode, bring that down, scale that a bit there. Scale, and we'll obviously need to do a bit of polish on that. What we will do, we'll come out of see-through mode, go into edit mode, insert another few loops in there, so we've got a bit more geo to play with. So something like that, but maybe have that a bit more straight. I'm thinking at that section, you can grab your select lasso, do it around there, go into normal. I'm just thinking that section's a bit too big, isn't it? Yeah. So let's just move that about a bit. Insert another loop. And then what you can do then, because it's a bit too square, is if you go into sculpt mode, make sure you control A, all transforms. You go into sculpt mode now, you should be able to smooth along here. Maybe increase that to 0.55. Let's just right click and shade smooth. And just smooth it out a bit. And that way, it's not a square, is it? Smoothed it out. You got more of a round leg. But yeah, I mean, probably should have used a cylinder, I guess, but I've always been a bit of a box modeler, so I like using the cubes and boxes. So just smoothing. Smoothing along there. A little bit of tweaking the shape in places. And then maybe you might think it's a little bit too big. Might want to increase things. See through, just increase things a bit. Tweak things about. So it's going to be something like that for the legs, isn't it? Not perfect. Could maybe do with a bit more geometry in there in places, but it's not too bad. What we could also do, go to Generate, Subdivision, set that to 2. Let's give us a bit more geo. Tweak a bit. I suppose you could have that a little bit bigger there, wouldn't you, just to say it's a bit of a joint there, so you could maybe just inflate that a bit. And then maybe just inflate there just a little bit, just to say that that's where the joint is, kind of thing. I think we'll go with that for now. You can always tweak it a little bit. It's not too bad. Let's just check the position. I'm guessing you want it sort of like that, don't we? And if we Shift D on that, move that back there. Shift D again. Move that to there. Shift D again. Move that one to there. Maybe have it coming in and out a little bit more. I guess if you look at it from the front, could try and create a bit of a better silhouette, and that one could go in, couldn't it? Maybe that one there, something like that. I feel as if that should go up a bit, but we'll go with it for now. We could maybe have these back ones here going Alt Q, sculpt mode, G to grab, F to resize. I'm just thinking these ones could go up just a little bit more. Just so it's not exactly the same. But I mean, we just need to see a bit of a better silhouette on them legs, don't we though, really? Can we move these about a bit, maybe scale a little bit, so some are touch bigger. And generally, they're all pretty much the same. I'm just trying to create a better silhouette of them legs. In. I'm just trying to create a better silhouette from the front. I suppose once we've rigged it we can tweak it about. We'll just have to go with that for now. Then we'll go to generate a mirror. Add it to the other side, generate. Just get that out of the way there. Mirror. Add it to the other side. Mirror. There. Generate mirror. There. So that's 8 legs, really. Just tweak them around a touch again. You can see the 8 legs, can't you, there? Just need to do a little bit of tweaking on the legs, I guess. That's the basic shape, isn't it, in place of this spider. We'll have him smiling a touch more. Do a bit of clean up on that. A bit of clean up around here. But what I'll do now, I'll duck out for 10 or 15 minutes. Do a little bit of polish on this. I'll come back and tell you what I've done. Right, so I'm back on, done a bit of tweaking. Nothing major, just a bit of polish on the legs. Just a bit of inflating and moving about. They're far from perfect, but I guess they're a bit better than they was. I guess really you could try and go in and define the joint a bit more there. Yeah, I just added a bit of inflating on it. Just so there's at least a little bit of a joint looking thing there, but it's cartoony anyway, isn't it? So I don't think we need to worry about that so much. You want to, I've renamed stuff there, go over everything, Control A, all transforms to deltas. So that's there's the basic spider in place. Still far from perfect, isn't it? But Control A, all transforms to delta. So what we'll do now then, I think, we'll just start getting a basic texture in place on it. So it's external data pack, clean up, get rid of anything we don't need. Let's get these materials. New. Have that as a white. Let's go into there. We'll have that as a kind of blacky grey. Lashes. pretty much black. Let's add another one. And if we go to edit mode, select, say these faces, change that to black. The sign, that can be the eyes. Change the roughness to none, so they're shiny. This I guess can be the same as the body. I'm wondering, I need a little red on here really. It's a little bit different. I suppose in the mouth we could go to plus. And just have a little bit of redness maybe. Let's knock off our subdiv. Select some faces. In the mouth area. Need to try and select them all really. I'm just selecting these faces. Back to material, mouth, assign. And at least that distinguishes the mouth area a little bit, doesn't it? If it's a woman, I guess what we could do is just have these ones red as well. Around here. Mouth, the sign, see how that looks. We'll go with it for now, I guess, but not sure. Not sure about that. We want this red on here, don't we? So, I mean, really, I'm thinking that we should try and unwrap this, you know. But let's, yeah, I think we'll unwrap that. Let's go into our UV editing then. Let's think about select edge loops there. You could select the edge loops there and then maybe cut down here. Probably better ways to unwrap it. Right click, mark seam, A to select all, U, minimum stretch. And we've got our unwrapped there. If we want to paint this red bit on, I guess we'll go to shading. And we'll probably have to paint that mouth back in there, won't we? Let's forget, where are we now? Back into layout. Let's go on to the body, into shading, get rid of that, and that will keep them there. New base colour was that kind of black, wasn't it? We'll go to Shift A, texture, image texture, new. Just have it as 4K. New image, connect that in, not to the metallic, into the colour. legs, I suppose, we want the same, don't we? We can change that. Let's go into texture paint then. Let's just try and paint a little red section. I paint hard. Like a deep, pretty much a deep red, like Black Widow-esque. We go to stroke, stabilise stroke. Should be able to paint in. Something like that is what we want. Sort of. Kind of thing. It's a little bit too much. We want it somewhere. Somewhere like that. Maybe a bit thinner. I think along the lines of that. And if we knock off stroke, stabilise stroke, you can just simply paint it in then. Paint the inside. If we again go to select that black, paint that out there. If we go to jet black, would we paint in something like that? Stroke, stabilise stroke. Oh, jet black. Just paint that in there, something like that. Obviously we just need to tidy up that bit. So we're not going to see the back. We will just have it like that. Stroke, stabilise stroke, knock that off. And just have it like that for now. Then what we could do, I guess, just to add a little bit of interest to it, is we go to knock the strength down. We could just add in a few little random dots maybe, couldn't we? See how it looks. Just to give it a touch more bit of a visual interest, as it were. Just a few little random dots in there. We'll leave it like that for now. Make sure you go to Image, Save As, Spider, Body, Save. That saves your image then. Yeah, because she never painted orthographically, it's not quite round there. So once you've added another paint stroke, be sure to Image, Save. Obviously leave it up to you to what you want to paint in. Might be a bit much, but then you could change the tone a little bit, couldn't you? Maybe add a couple of little darker bits. Knock your X off and it's not as contrived. So we'll just leave it like that for now. That can be the basic texture. If we grab the colour of that and copy that and go into these legs material, these legs material 2, set that to material 2. You should name these as well, really. Material 2. That's your body, so you've got the red bits, so now that's not going to be any good. That, what was it? Body. Let's undo that. So if we go with the material 2, is the call that. That's why you should always name stuff, so when you're on the fly and rushing, you're not naming stuff. Body. Just go to new. Paste that in. Legs. Matte. You're just setting the legs the same colour as the body. So that's the basic texture in place. Remember to go to image, save. Roughness on the body can be a little bit more shine to it, I guess. Shiny eyes. This is more hair-like, so it's more matte. Put that as 0.8. I think next up then, Control S to save. Let's try and get this little guy rigged up then. We've got our, we go into collection, we've got our camera, our lights and stuff. We don't need the cube. We're going to animation. I like to have this as, want to be in cycles. I like to be at 1080 by 1920. T to get your tool up. You want to just move your camera then. So we'll obviously light this a little bit later. Just create our basic animation for it. That's better. It's going to be a basic animation. I tweak the texture. You go to lit. You just position your light. This isn't really a lighting tutorial. This I'm just showing you how to go about setting it up basically. Basic. So what we'll do now then if we just go into grey mode, I like to work. We'll get this guy rigged up then. Right, so let's get this guy rigged then. So what we want to do, obviously for the last few tutorials we've added like a human rig, but what we'll do now, we'll add a single bone. We go into viewport display, running man, viewport display in front. You'll be able to see it then through your mesh. Go into edit mode. So that bone can control the body. And Shift D on that, and that can control the eye. You want to name this as you go. So body eye.r. So I like to work. I know that's his left, but it's screen right. So it's up to you really, personal preference. So carry on in edit mode. Shift D. I'm just trying to think what other bones we need. So we got our body there. Eye. We'll create a shape key maybe for a blink and mouth. It's just the legs really. So let's just get these bones into place for the legs. So the root of your leg. Yeah. Go into normal. Normal or local. Normal, I guess, yeah. Yeah, let's get to the joint there. You can roll the bone so it's straight. So to the joint, and you want to grab extrude, bring that down to your next joint. Make sure you're in 3D space. Roll that. So it's straight. Again, extrude. Move that down to there. The bottom. I just we're looking orthographically from the top. Get that straight there. Straight. And this one. Straight. Just onto the joint as best you can. And as I say, so that's going to be front dot leg dot upper dot R. Copy that. F2, paste. All that. Middle dot R. Paste. Lower dot R. Then grab these three. Shift D. Duplicate them. And then move them into place again. Moving stuff around into place. You can go to stick as well. You can see it better then if you're in stick mode. It's always best to go back to the other octagonal. or whatever it's called, just to check your roll. If you move it into place, moving this again, Shift D, then move that into place, into the ballpark. And as I say, if you go back to octahedral, you can just check the roll, just to get your roll back straight. So yeah, just setting these bones up, move it as best you can to the joint. That's not too bad. Bones are in place. Then you want to go through then now and go to start naming now. So mid 1 dot upper dot leg dot R, copy, paste. Mid 1 upper leg dot R, paste. Mid 1 mid leg dot R, mid 1 lower leg dot R. So it's a bit of a pain. Call it mid 2 upper leg dot R, copy, paste. Mid 2 mid leg dot R, mid 2 lower leg dot R, and these ones we'll call them back upper leg dot R, copy, back mid leg dot R, and back lower leg dot R. Control S to save. This will isolate M2. This needs to be right onto the. We want to separate these eyes actually. So Control L, P, selection. Let's just double check that. We want to apply our mirror modifier. So apply. Go into edit mode. Control L, P, selection. So you've now got I.R and I.L. Object set origin, origin to geometry. Shift S, cursor to selected. Now you want that bone, Shift S, selection to cursor, to be right there so it pivots correctly. Shift D on that bone. So you've got IR and IL. Actually, now we can symmetrize that, can't we? We don't need to do that, we can symmetrize. So shift this, selection to cursor. Yeah. Bring that out there. Then we need to look into parenting now. So edit mode. We want to select these bones, the eye bone. Select that last, Control P, keep offset. And now we've parented the eye and all the legs to our body. Now if we select all these bones and that eye bone, go to Armature Symmetrize, we've now got it on the other side as well. And it's all set up parented. So let's Control S to save on that. /. That's our bone system set up on the spider. So we've set our bone system up. And as I say, because we named that .r and we went to Symmetrize, you get your .l. And it does all the parenting for you as well. So if you go into pose mode, look, and move that around, you'll see everything's parented correctly. So what do we need to do now then? Well, we need to paint these whites. So again, I think we'll go into stick. We can see things a bit better. We've got B bone as well and envelope, wire. I usually use the default or the stick. What we'll do, we need to make sure our values are set to 0, our meshes. So should be. Then we'll select all our meshes. We'll name that spider rig. We'll select all our meshes now. Select the rig last. And we'll go to Control P with automatic weights. So now, if we move our rig, our mesh is binded to the rig, but we need to select the rig and the mesh, white paint. I like to go up here and put that to all, you have it as blue then. And if you Control Shift click, you'll see what's influencing what. We probably should have gone with empty groups really. But we'll go with it for now. Here's our body. We want all of that bone to be controlling this body. So when we move the bone, the body moves. Let's just paint that in. Let's select our eye bone. You don't want that eye bone controlling any of the body, so set your weight to 0 and paint that out. And the eye bone is not influencing any of the body then. So this is known as skinning really. We just painting out influences. We also want that eyelash to be part of the body. So if we select the rig mesh and go to white paint, Control Shift click that bone. We want to go to white one. We want to paint these eyelashes in. So it moves when the body moves. Let's have a look what else we got. So the legs. Are any of these leg bones influencing that eye? Doesn't look like it, which is good. Select the other eye, white paint. Come out of that a minute. Rig, eye, white paint. Let's just check that none of these bones are influencing the eye. That's right. But we don't want any of these bones influencing the body. So white paint, select that bone, white 0, paint out the influence now. Let's enable X and also go to Symmetry, Mirror Vertex Groups, X. We should paint out the other side, but sometimes it doesn't, even though you've enabled that. So let's paint out these legs, and I won't move any of the body then. So that's what rigging's all about. You're just painting the influence, what you want to move. That's painting it out. Because we painted the other side, it's mirrored it. So when we now go to pose mode, move side, I like to have that cursor at the world origin. We now move this eye, we can see it's moving the lash. We don't want that. Are we testing stuff now? Again, white paint, select that eye, go to white 0, paint out the lash, and then when you move the eye, the lash won't move. So now, Control S to save, pose. We've still got a bit of influence there, haven't we? So again, select the lash, white paint. Paint out any influence on that lash. Let's test it now. Remove that bone. It's just moving the eye, which is what we want. Still got a bit on there, haven't we? You can see moving. So you get a bit of back and forth, you do one. Rigging. Shift click. Paint everything out we don't want. Retest by going into pose mode. That's just moving the eyes now, which is what we want. We've got our eyes, we can do our little eye darts if we want them. The body is moving everything, but obviously we don't want it to move the legs. So what we need to do now is set up our IK system on the legs. We'll do that next. Right, so let's set up our IK legs then. So what you want to be doing for that is you've got to create another couple of bones. I'll probably have to create 2 for each leg. So if you go to extrude, move this bone, which is going to be your IK, so it's flat on the floor. You want to go to Alt P, clear parent, so it's not parented onto a chain, so there. Call that IK right front, for example. If you Shift D that and bring it up somewhere around there, for example, F2, call that your IK R front underscore PV, which means pole vector. So now you've got another couple of controls, and you need to do that for each leg. What I'll probably do is show you how to set the first one up and duck out and come back. It's a bit long-winded if not. We've got our bones. We'll go into pose mode next. We want to select this lower bone here and go into bone constraints, inverse kinematics. So lower bone, inverse kinematics. It creates this relationship line. You want your chain length to be however many limbs you've got. So you've got 1, 2, 3 limbs, haven't you? Obviously humans 2, upper and lower. So make your chain length 3. So if you now move that, you've got your basic IK. So what you need to also do is if you select this pipette as your target, as your spider rig, your bone is your IK there. But basically now, when you move this IK control, it's the same as moving that. But the beauty of that now is that when you move this body down, the leg stays in place, which is what you want to create walk cycles and runs and all that sort of stuff. So that's what you need to do for each leg. And then also you want your pole target to be a rig again. Then you want this bone to be that, which is your pole vector. And sometimes you have to change the angle to suit. That's moved a little bit. So just move it back there, pole angle 2. So now when you move your IK leg, you might want to bring it back straight. So you just use your pole vector there to move things back. So you want to be doing that for every leg now. And you can simply go to Alt G to reset. And what you can also do, which I like to do, is if you go into your bone colour, I like to have the right, screen right, as red. So you can set your bone colours to red. I like to have right for red, left lime, and B for body blue. Just how I've worked for years and I think it works well. So lime, red, body. So what you want to do now is you want to set all your bones to red and lime. You don't have to, but that's how I work. And you want to set up the rest of your IK controls on all your other legs. So what I'll do now, I'll duck out and I'll set them all up and come back and show you the finished rig. So I've set up the bulk of my IK. I'll just bring you back to show you it once more so you know the process. So you'll be in edit mode. You'll just extrude your final bone out down there. You'll Alt P to clear the parent. You'll shift duplicate this to up here for your pole vector. Impose mode, inverse kinematics, spider rig, your bone is the control you extruded. You got your spider rig and your pole vector. You've got to make sure that you obviously have your chain length. There's 3 there. I had that with these 3. Just a case of moving your pole angle. I think it was about -170. Could be different values. -160 looks like a good one. So that's how you create your IK. So I've done that and I've changed all the colours. Control S to save. One other thing you can do is when you move this IK, really you want your pole vector to move as well. So if you go into edit mode what you can do is you can Control P and keep offset. And when you go into pose mode now, if you move your leg, your pole vector will move as well. And you can move it like that. So you want to be doing that as well, really. Keep things clean. So we'll do that while we're at it. Control P, keep offset. Keep offset. So just going round and parenting our pole vectors to our IKs and keeping the offset. So that's a decent little cartoony rig. Obviously when you move this in pose mode now, if you move this body, all your legs stay in place nicely, don't they? So the good thing about that as well, we wasn't too happy with the silhouette, was we, at the start? So must not be dead symmetrical. You can move your legs around a bit then to suit. So we're creating a bit of silhouette on our legs now. Just by moving stuff about. So there he is then. Or her. Elijah's little spider. With all our controls in place. Obviously you can pose that up a bit so the body's not hitting the floor as well. So by adding your rig system, you've got a lot more control to pose it, to create your nice silhouette. So what we'll do, we'll get him into a little pose here. Or her, should I say. Keep saying that now. Try to break up the symmetry a little bit, not have it smack on the same. Yeah, body up a bit. Eyes, I mean we could add another control system really to the eyes, which is known as a damped track. Or we could just key them to dart around like that. I mean, we'll add the damp track. Then what you can do, if you go to Shift D to duplicate this, so you've got the control there like that. And it's still parented to the body, which is correct. We'll call that eye master, doesn't have to be capitals. And if we Shift D there and call that I.L .control, or actually if we call it iControl.L and go to Symmetrize, we'll get an iControl R. Let's set that to red as well. Red. And what we want to do is these two. Go to Alt P, clear parent. Select them both. Control P, keep offset. So now when you go into pose mode, this master eye will move both of them. Just set that correctly. So that's the control for the eyes. You can have these a bit smaller to distinguish them a bit more. We'll go into pose mode then. And if I remember right, it's called a damped track. So, damped track. Target is that. And the bone is that. I think you just adjust your track axis then. Track axis Y. Same with that. Damp track. Rig. Y. And just adjust this. It's Y. Now when you move that, your eye's going to move a bit. Select the other one, your eye will move. Obviously if you select the master, both your eyes will move. That's the correct way of setting up your eye controls, that is. You can move them individually as well. That's how you can get your eye darts in there. Alt G. Seems slightly off, doesn't it, that, for some reason? We'll go with it for now. Only a basic rig. You can set it back straight. Like that. If I remember right, is it? There is a way to reset the values. Control A, apply selected as rest pose. Control A, that's it. So you Control A and apply selected as rest pose. It's because it was more locking. It was locking in the middle. We should have set it up to be aligned with the bone. That's why. By using that Control A, you've set it back now to the default. That's all it was. So that's our rig in place then. I guess what we can do now is create a little idle animation. So let's do the last part then and set up a basic little idle animation and possibly a wave. Let's go to animation then. We'll just go into grey mode for now. Oh, we can go into colour. So animation, we've got our timeline there. I like to have wireframe, don't ask me why, but I do. So there's our rig system we set up. I think I had my screencast keys on, didn't I? Just have to reset it, yeah. So let's, I don't know, should we have set this as, into our timeline, just set it as 100, say, or 90, 99. There's Elijah's little spider. We'll go to I, set a control, set a key on everything. I think we'll just have a simple up and down and an eye dart. Let's keep it simple. So let's have him, her, down. We could maybe have a little leg movement, couldn't we, possibly? So let's have it down like that. And then probably you want to be on 24 FPS. So probably what? A couple of seconds later. Make sure you got your auto key on. So I. Make sure your auto key's on. Say probably halfway. We'll go back up. As if she's breathing a little bit. You could maybe have a very slight. That's a local. Very slight. This way maybe. So up and then back down. So copy, paste that to 100 so you get your same as there before you just hit right. There's a very simple up and down. And what we could do maybe at 75 is you could have a little eye dart, couldn't we? So just kind of looks. I like that cuteness where you see the eye going to the corner, but that one's not quite in the corner. So I could just look up as an eye dart. But obviously that's going to be travelling over so many frames, so you want copy, you want to paste it to 73, paste. It's an eye dart, 1 to 2 frames. I'll try it as 1. And copy that, paste it onto about 100. Copy, paste, and it'll go back. I think 99. So breathing, and then a little eye dart. Obviously you could have more time if you don't want the eye dart to keep happening. You could extend that to say 200 frames or 199. And if you grab everything, copy, paste, but delete the eye dart there. It's just the up and down. Just double check you've got rid of the eye. Just that one, wasn't it? Delete that. So then your eye dart's happening this. So it's just a simple up and down. Because we've added a bit more time, what we could have there is just a little, maybe a little leg movement, couldn't we? So let's just key everything. Going to global. And then maybe at 175, this leg. Just go there, then at 170 up a little bit. I think the spider legs move quicker, really. It was 175, wasn't it? So select your pole vector and that. Let's try it over 3 frames. So it'll hold. You'll hold that frame to about there. Then you'll go back. Set it as 198 for a seamless loop. What we should have done. Put that as 200 and that as 199. So it goes back to there, so it just needs to go up a little bit, doesn't it? We go back. You've just added a little leg movement. Just to add a bit more life to it. What you could do, you could maybe just keep holding that for a bit longer, but we'll just leave it as that for now. As if she's moving a little bit, and then maybe another random one, say around here, say maybe this one there, again. Control A. You haven't got to do Control A. I generally like to do it if you're doing a lot of keyframes, but this is kind of just a basic on the fly one, isn't it? So I, there, 1, 2, 3. Just have the leg go to there, and then down. Basically the leg is just moving outwards a bit, and we could hold that, couldn't we? Keep holding it to say there, and then copy paste that, and in the middle of it moving back. So you've just got a little bit of leg movement, haven't you, to add a bit of life. And you got your little eye dart. You don't want your eye dart happening at the same time as your leg. So we'll move that eye dart forward a bit. So the leg goes, then the eye. And you could also add a tiny little eye dart towards the end, couldn't you? So it just goes, looks that way just slightly. Have it over 2 frames, copy, paste, then go back over 1. So you've got a couple of little leg movements and a couple of little eye darts. Just check that your eye dart's not happening at the same time as your leg, which it seems to be again. Eye dart, leg move. So there is Elijah's little spider. One of the crew. And obviously what you'll do now is you'll go into your graph editor, enter hide that. I like to have only selected keyframe handles and don't show the cursor. And you'll work on your root first. So we don't want scale. Hide your rotation. Let's just look at your up and down, see what you got. Control S to save. Go over them, press N. Modifier, cycles, then you'll get your perfect loop then. You go to cycles. Delete that key, move that up a bit, move your handles, and don't have that go as low. Just look at your Y, hide the ones you don't want. That could go in a bit quicker and that could hang. So you're adjusting your curves a bit now. So it's not exactly the same movement. And you could go into your side view, look at your X location. See if you can grab a touch of X on it, for example. Oh yeah, move that X over a bit. Where it happens at a different time, and go into your Z. Does that give you anything? So this is known as just adding a bit of animation dirt. This is now. Just by moving the curves around a bit. So grab them three. Add a cycles modifier to get your loop. Looks like it's in the X. So let's just move that way a bit. Delete that key. Move that up. There. Move the handle along. Just to create a touch of variation. You can't really see it, but you can feel it. That's what they used to teach me. Your legs. Was this one, wasn't it? Control S to save. When this leg comes down, if you remember from previous lectures, especially the graph editor, have it as a vector. Then you'll get your hard hit, then move that there to slow out a bit. So now it's a hard hit. You hit F3. Calculate. And check your arc as well though. Arcing up. And down, so you got your arc. And as it goes back, slow out a bit. Handle type vector. Have your hard hit there. F3, calculate. So you got different arcs. Check it from this view as well. Straight, isn't it? So can you get a bit of movement to the side as well? And on this one, check it from this angle. It's a bit straight, isn't it? Go the other way maybe. F3, calculate. You'll see you got different arcs. It's not exactly the same. Pose, motion, paths, clear. It was this one again, wasn't it? So again, just go to handle type vector. Bit of slowing in. Hide what you don't want. Just a bit of variation. Again, vector for your hard hit, slow out, adjust that a bit. So that's how you go about polishing animation. By adjusting the animator's best friend, which is your graph editor. Your eye darts, Control S to save. Everything moves in a Bezier fashion really. But with your eye darts, you want your interpolation to be linear. They move in a linear fashion. So just have it on the X. Yeah, so look, if you go to Bezier, that's how most things work, like with your interpolation linear. The only thing that moves linear fashion is your eyes, they don't arc. Obviously the rest of your body, you want nice Bezier curves to get your organic feel. So there it is, just basic idle, moving up and down. Legs moving a little bit to create a bit of life. So that's going to be the end. I mean, if you look at my book, so what you can do, I mean, if you go to Dope Sheet and your Action Editor, Action Editor, and select your rig there. You'll see you've got a spider rig action, and you can name that to idle. If you click the shield, you'll see the F there. You've created a stored animation here in idle, and you can move that into a game engine like Unity. So what you might want to do next is create another animation. So if you close that and go into pose mode and go to I, back to you, you've got another rig action here. Look, you could call that wave, click the shield, story. So what we could do now, we could just go to the timeline and create a very basic on the fly wave, couldn't we? So there he is. You could anticipate down, AI, so anticipate down a little bit, and a touch to the side, like that, and then come up and wave. So this arm would come up here. One thing you do need to just double check if you want it perfect is the weighting on this. You might need to go in and paint a few bit of weights in and out on the legs, because you see it's a little bit creased, isn't it, the leg there? As I say, it's not some studio perfection rig. So the arm could come up like that. If we go to F3, calculate, I'm doing this quickly on the fly, so little arc around only. You could come up and just wave. So this is just super quick, just to show you how to create another animation. So excuse me, it's a bit rushed. So it comes up and gives us a little wave, and it'll just go back down to this pose. Obviously, we've got a little bit of an error there because I'm guessing we haven't set the pole vector. So copy. Where was that? On there. Grab our pole vector. Paste. Pole vector back up here. So I never really set anything on the pole vector, so just be aware of that. So it'll come back down. You want it to arc a little bit on the way down as well, a different arc. So as I say, this is super rushed. It gives you an idea, doesn't it? So clear. Anticipation was a bit quick. So let's go. Or was it? I think it was okay actually. It's just that we could bring the body up a bit more, couldn't we? Maybe tilt it a bit. And on this body, copy. That's why I always like to set a key on everything, that is. So it'll go back down to the start there. So yeah, super rushed, but anticipates, goes up, and comes back down. They're giving us a little wave, look. So how would you go about cleaning that up? Well, it's just the same process of what we just done, really. Control S to save. Let's look at the body. Anticipates down. Anticipates up. If you move that curve, it'll keep moving a little bit. Eye, only selected. It keeps moving a touch. And the same with that. Just vary it up a little bit as it comes back down. Hide what you don't want. Eye, all channels as it comes back down. Slow out a bit more. Handle type, vector. Hard hit. So yeah, coming up. Waving, coming back down. And yeah, for example, you could go back down. Copy, paste. As I say, excuse me because I'm really rushing now. You could have a little bounce, couldn't you? So the body goes down, then comes back up a bit. And in your rotation again. Copy, paste. Add a little bit of dirt to your rotation there. Maybe move that over a bit. So I'll clean that up before I do that as final, but let's say you go about adding a second animation. So now, if you go into object mode, Control S to save, and go to your dope sheet and set that as idle. You've obviously got, we had more frames, didn't we? So there was our idle animation. But then you can also select, because you stored it with your shield and your F, our wave. So we got both our animations, which could go into a game engine. And then I'll just go over a couple of other things you could do. I mean, you could create a shape key, for example. Click plus there, call that maybe smile. If you go into sculpt mode, you'd have to just make it so you haven't got things going in and that. You could just create a little smile animation, couldn't you, as well? If you knock X off, it'll break the symmetry a bit, which is a bit better. There's like your smile. I'll probably leave that in, a little smile as well. You could also create another shape key. Maybe call that blink. And then if you enable your X there, it'll be a bit awkward on this because you haven't got a lot of topology to play with and the eyes are big. You can see what I'm doing. I'm creating like a blink there, aren't I? That's just a simple way of getting a nice little bit of animation into your work. If you've created a simple rig, you can create a simple shape key blink as well, so you could bring this up a bit here. As I say, you haven't got a lot of geometry to play with, but might not look too bad. Just using a grab brush, just creating a very simple blink. Remember to always Control S to save every few minutes so you don't lose your work, in case Blender crashes, which is rare, because Blender's the best. It does happen now and again. Just look at it from that angle. I'll maintain the roundness. So that's going to be the end of this Elijah's Little Spider animation and modelling and rigging. Covered quite a bit of stuff, only a basic model and rig, but I'm hoping that you've learned some good stuff on the rigging side there, setting up IKs and weight painting and eye darts, leg movement, animation. There's our blink. And now if you go between your value there, you've got your blink in there. You've created a blink animation as well. Remember to set your value to 1 before you start tweaking these. So that's going to be the end of this tutorial then, guys. So hope you enjoyed that. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Peace. And I'll just bring you back for a second because I rushed out a bit early there because I heard thought someone was going to come into the room and say something, but you never. So yeah, just bring you back for a couple of minutes. If you wanted to key that blink as part of your animation, it's simple. You just key the value there. So like a blink, you could go to maybe, you could have your eye dart. We could have it there to be safe. Have it say at 30. Your value of your blink. We'll set our smile, we'll have that all along. Blink, key your value there. And then maybe at 33, key your value to be 1. And then back at 36, copy paste. You've got your value to 0. Very cool, so looks good as well, doesn't it? I like that blink. You can usually create a control and a driven key to control your blink, but that's only on like studio rigs and that. That does the job just as good, just by keying it there. So that's going to be our spider idle animation. We created a quick little wave as well. So there she is, blinking, moving. So that's going to be the end then, guys. Now I've shown you, I've got plenty of tutorials on lighting. So you'd create a background plane really for your light. Basically just a case of creating like a sort of a background plane and then move your lights about to get a decent lighting effect in there. If you bump your radius up to say 5, move that, you'll get less harsh shadows then. So what I'll do a little bit of lighting before I post the final of that. Try the power at 5000. You could create a bit of coldness, a bit of blue to contrast the red. So yeah, that's going to be the end then. So, hope you enjoyed that one, guys. Just hit F12. Obviously it's quite harsh and that, but if you add like a little bit of a rig, you can add some 3-point lighting. I've got some tutorials on that. And add like a plane to create the shadow. But there's the shiny eyes, and there she is. So that's definitely the end then. So it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from Elijah's little spider. So cheers guys, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot, bye.